Hey guys, it's Joshua Reviews, and guys, I'm bummed. Christmas Eve is tomorrow, and then Christmas Eve comes after that. Wait, Christmas... You guys get what I'm trying to say. Christmas is after Christmas Eve, and tomorrow's Christmas Eve, so that means Christmas is in 2 days. Speaking of 2, you guys are going to be getting 2 reviews on Christmas Day. So, you guys got that to look forward to. That's my gift to you. Anyways, so, okay, if you guys have been, well, if you guys seen my older reviews, and I'm talking like my older reviews, I think it was back in 2017, I reviewed a shit ton of Krampus movies, and I was actually considering doing that this year, but I figured I might as well wait a while before I get to any future Krampus low-budget sequel. Like, obviously, you guys remember Mother Krampus, and you guys obviously remember, a bunch of other... Anyways, you guys know the whole ordeal by now, if you're familiar with Krampus movies. Yeah, there's a bunch. I don't know why, but there is. But we're not looking at those Krampus movies. We are looking at the Krampus movie. So, this came out in 2015. That was quite a while ago. That's 9 years. I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that. That's insane. I saw this movie with my friends, and we all liked it, I think. I think when this movie came out, and I think still to this day, it kind of has a mixed reception. Some people really like it, and some people really don't. Yeah, this movie kind of has like you either like it or you don't, or yeah, it kind of has a weird reputation. But let's get into it. So the movie is about a kid. I believe his name is named Max, because I am awful with names. But he is spending time with his folks on Christmas. His family comes over, and they don't get along. It is a really dysfunctional family. I mean, this makes the McAllisters and the Griswolds look like... It makes them look like kiddie shit. Like, this family is dysfunctional. They do not get along. They do not like each other. And you really get the sense of like, ugh, like, I don't want to spend time with these folks. Anyways, so he writes Santa a note. It's not really clear as to whether or not he still believes. I think he just believes in the spirit of Christmas. So it's like, he writes to Santa because he believes in the spirit of Christmas. And when his, I think his cousins or, his cousins or whatever, they read the note out loud in front of the entire family, and it's pretty embarrassing. So he gets mad and he loses his temper, and he wishes, that he just loses the spirit of Christmas. I don't want to say he wished for anything, but, he just lost the spirit of Christmas. And after that, Krampus decides to pay him a visit, and his little buddies, his little elves, teddy bears, and robot toys, and yeah, there's a lot. So, right off the bat, this movie's directed by the guy who made Trick or Treat, which I really like. And that movie, I wouldn't say is dark, because it's a horror film, so of course a horror film's going to be dark, but in a sense of like, where I'd say that movie felt kind of, I don't want to say gothic, but, well, this movie feels very whimsically terrifying. I think that's the best way I can describe this movie. Whimsically terrifying. Because right away, something I noticed rewatching this movie, because I've seen this film quite a few times, one of the things I really like about this movie is the family. And how the family specifically is the main focal point of the movie. I don't think I've seen a Christmas horror film center around the family. Or if I have, it's one I forgot about. But, so this movie, so yeah, the family's very dysfunctional. That's established right away. All the actors do a great job portraying the characters that are on screen. The character Max and his parents do a really good job. I think it's Uncle Ed or Ted or whatever. He does a amazing job. He's hilarious. He's the kind of redneck guy, kind of reminds you of the Griswold, Eddie, or brother Eddie, and which you can make the obvious comparison to. But this movie is both dark and funny. It has a lot of dark humor, but it also is not afraid to get dark in places. Because interestingly enough, this movie chooses to be a family movie, but also be a dark family movie. It just so happens to also be a horror movie. One of the things I really like about this movie is the whole entire film. You kind of see in the beginning, the family is a dysfunctional mess. They are a dysfunctional mess. They don't like each other. They don't want to be in like one proximity near each other. They hate each other. And in the middle half, when the storm hits and they're stuck in their house and they're looking for their daughter, or at least the main family is looking for their daughter, they kind of regroup and they kind of like, okay, we got to work together to, find your daughter. And you really start to understand that this film is about family. And towards the end, they all start working together and they all start to appreciate one another in these dark times, which is another reason I really like the horror genre, because it's in the worst scenarios you can find your true self, or, the best things can happen from dark situations. I mean, let's take a look at, Jesus, who died on the cross. I mean, he was whipped and, he died on the cross, but, and that was a pretty horrific thing that happened, but, he resurrected 3 days later and he came to save us. My point being, a lot of dark shit happens in life. And I love that this movie chooses to show you the dark side of Christmas and all the stuff that's happening to the family, because the kids are getting captured and presumably killed, sent to hell. And the family works together to try and save one another. And I really, really dug that angle and aspect of the film, how they were trying to save each other and, trying to recuperate that, that bond they probably once or maybe never had. And I also like the message that, like, it's all about sacrifice, because towards the end they start to, sacrifice stuff for the ones they loved. And I really, really dug that angle. And the comedy in this film isn't forced humor. It's not forced. I really dig the humor in this film. Because the situation in and of itself is weird. I mean, this is Krampus, but I think they kind of mess with the lore a little bit. I don't know that much about the Krampus lore, but all I know is that in this film, I don't think gingerbread men or walking, talking gingerbread men are part of the Krampus mythos. But when they start attacking, uncle, the uncle or whatever, he starts blasting them with a shotgun, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are these talking killer gingerbread man after me? And his reaction just got a genuine laugh out of me, because it felt like the natural response. I too would be like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? It's like every reaction felt genuine, and the character decisions felt natural, and they weren't stupid, besides maybe one or two decisions that, I can kind of look past in order for the plot to get going, but that's one thing that I can just kind of let by. The film also is really entertaining. There's a lot happening. Like, the movie's constantly moving. There's not a dull moment, in my opinion. All the beats hit right. The movie's perfectly paced. The characters make the right decisions when the plot needs them to. Like, for example, the sister goes missing, and the family's trying to look for their daughter, and they're kind of like, they're freaking out because they don't know where she is. And, the other side of the family is, kind of putting their hand over their shoulders, like, we got your back, like, we'll help you find her. And it's like, that was good. That easily could have come across like as manipulative or like, phony, but it doesn't feel, none of this feels phony. A lot of the stuff that happens to this family, you legitimately feel bad and hope that they get out of this terrible situation. Now, on that notion, let's talk about the ending. Now, I'm going to get into some spoilers. So if you don't want the spoiler, I would just skip to the 11-minute mark. Anyways, so it is revealed that all the family members have been captured, and Max meets Krampus, and it's explained earlier by his grandma that her family was taken away because she lost the Christmas spirit too, and she got a bell to as a reminder to keep Christmas in your heart, almost kind of like a Christmas Carol type way, like keep Christmas in your heart. And so he gets the bell and he realizes that he needs to do something about this. So unlike his grandma, who had a similar encounter, he goes to Krampus and he sacrifices himself to Krampus. He's like, I take back what I said, give me back my family. And in a dark, fucked up twist, Krampus just basically laughs in his face and is like, I'm not going to give you your family, and sends him to hell. And then it's revealed, that they're in a snow globe. So that's an interesting choice. There's a few things you can take away from that, but whatever way you take a look at it, whether or not they all died or they all lived and Krampus is just keeping an eye on them, whatever way you look at it or take away from it, this film is a good cautionary warning as to even though you may or may not like some of your family members, and you may have some differences, Christmas is that special time of year as a reminder to look for something you have in common. Look for the goodness, keep the goodness in your heart and always try to be there for one another, even in the darkest times like this. And it took me like 5 years to finally realize this about this movie, because when I first saw this movie, I was kind of hit or miss on it. I both liked it, but didn't. And the more I watch this movie, it really grows on me. And I really dig the way this movie's executed and how it portrays the family angle and the dark elements of Christmas, but also not forgetting to show the light and happiness in Christmas. It's a good cautionary tale, and I can definitely see people showing their kids this movie if you're a horror fan. Regardless of whatever way you look at it, I really love this movie. It is a great Christmas horror movie, and besides a few stuff that I'm sure people have issue with, like I'm sure the Krampus mythos is kind of tweaked around with, whatever. Besides stuff like that, this is a great movie. It was a great movie, so I'm going to give it an A. Yeah. So, anyways, guys, Christmas Eve is tomorrow. Stay tuned.